Good evening. Let's call over a regular March 19th, 2024 council meeting. Please rise. Dear Lord, we come before you today asking for your blessings on this council meeting. We ask that you would guide our discussions and help us to make decisions that are in line with your will for our community. We also pray for your wisdom and understanding as we grapple with complex issues. Above all else, we ask that your love would be evident in everything that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is the verbal roll call. The council members present for the record.
Councilmember Dack.
Present.
Councilmember Joy.
Present.
Councilmember Locke.
Present.
Councilmember Perkins.
Present.
Councilmember Sexton.
Present.
Vice Mayor Akins.
Present.
Mayor Nickerson.
Present. Next is the approval of the regular meeting minutes from the February 20th, 2024 meeting. Are there any corrections or changes to these minutes?
Can I just ask a question before we get started? Is there a reason that our agenda order of business changed? Our agenda that was provided is not the agenda that is listed in our ordinances.
Which part?
Ordinance 30.01 H2. This is a violation of our ordinances.
Disagree. Move on.
Okay, so are there any corrections or changes to these minutes?
Yes.
What?
One, there's several things in this. I think it should be tabled for more time because these minutes are very, very vague. I went through several. I'm sure Nicole appreciates that because I think Nicole does the same thing, goes through the video to compare the minutes. And there's several things listed, left out. One thing, if you have somebody, it was brought to my attention, if they're deaf, their perception of these minutes is not the perception of what was in that video. They're not supposed to be verbatim, but they are supposed to have the facts. Would you like me to go through every one of them? I'd be happy to. Because there's several, or would you like to table these for now? That we can just, council can discuss them.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call for a vote. We're not gonna table them for right now. Okay,
So you're not gonna make any changes to the minutes?
not at this time.
I have lots of questions about the minutes as well.
We're gonna call for a vote, please. Okay?
What can you say what he wants?
You're out of order. You were addressed. We're gonna call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting these minutes, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No,
Just count for it.
this is a violation, Mayor.
Okay, you're out of order, sir, please. If you'd like to talk, Mr. Joy, you can request it for the floor and you can explain it.
I would like to speak, but I would like to speak about these minutes.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next item, okay? Next, the approval of the regular meeting minutes from March 5th, 2024 meeting. Are there any corrections or changes to these minutes?
I have plenty of questions and changes.
Okay, the same thing applies as prior. I'll give you the floor for 3 minutes if you want to make one comment on it, and we'll move forward.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is a violation.
Okay,
And you are in violation.
noted. Is that all, sir?
That's enough.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting these minutes or changes, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business. Before we continue on unfinished business, I'd like to make a motion to add an item to allow special counsel to give a preliminary report on the investigation. Do I have a motion? Okay, I need a second, please.
I second.
Okay, take the vote, please, sir.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Ms. Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
I'll say yes this time, see what he says to say.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
7-0.
Ordinance 2024-01. Second reading, an ordinance amending portions of chapter 36 of the Village of New Lebanon codified ordinances titled income tax to comply with the changes enumerated in Ohio Bill 33. By charter, this ordinance must be read on 3 different days. We will set a third and final reading and a vote on this ordinance for April 2nd, 2024. Okay. At this time, Mr. McNamee, will you please present your findings on this investigation? Preliminary.
Copy written report. Initiated with exhibit and 15-page legal memorandum. Okay, if everybody has a copy of the report. Okay. I'm sorry if the audience can't see the screen. To summarize the report, I prepared a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so first I want to emphasize a couple things. The results that I'm presenting tonight are preliminary. On some items, additional investigation is required. When additional investigation is required, I'll so note it. The conclusions in the report are final unless I indicate that further investigation is needed. We'll further emphasize that the report does not include any findings by the Auditor of State Special Investigations Unit. They will issue their own report. I've passed out a legal memorandum with tab and indexed exhibits. And what I would like to do first is do a contract analysis of the 3 contracts in play in this investigation. Contract with Glenn Madden, village manager, Curtis Hensley, the chief of police, and Ronald Keener, the law director. And my initial conclusion is that all 3 contracts are void, rendering Glenn Madden and Chief Hensley employees at will, and Law Director Keener, a contractor at will. Okay, so to begin this analysis, you have to start out with Charter Section 105, the manner and exercise of powers. Basically, what this section of charter says, the charter and the ordinances will control, and if not prescribed by the charter or the ordinances, look at the highlighted section, when not prescribed in this charter or provided by ordinance of council, then such powers shall be exercised in the manner provided by the general laws of the state of Ohio. First general law of the state of Ohio in play is revised code section 705.11, and it entails the duties of the law director, what he should do in preparing contracts, and what he must do to make contracts effective within the municipality. Did you see the first highlight? We shall prepare all contracts. This will become important later on in my discussion. Then the really key part here is no contract with the municipal corporation shall take effect until the approval of the village solicitor or the city director of law is endorsed thereon. There's a second requirement that contracts must meet, and this is set forth in section 507.05, pardon me, 507.05.41 B1 of the Ohio Revised Code. You can look at the highlighted section there. Except as otherwise provided, it's not relevant here, of the revised code shall not make any contract or give any order involving the expenditure of money unless there's attached thereto a certificate of the fiscal officer of the subdivision that the amount required to meet the obligation, or in the case of a continuing contract to be performed in whole or in part, in an ensuing fiscal year. Basically, as the second highlight section, that's called a certificate of funds availability. The certificate need only be signed by the subdivision's fiscal officer. Every such contract made without such a certificate shall be void, and no warrant shall be issued in payment of any amount due thereon. Where all this is leading is that none of the three contracts I referenced have either the endorsement by the law director or the certificate of funds availability, meaning all three contracts are void. Then we go back to the village's codified ordinances. Section 35.102. Employment with the village is at will, unless it's in writing. Look down at the bottom there, states, no employee or representative of the village other than the municipal manager with the consent of the council has any authority to alter this at-will relationship. And any such alteration must lie in writing or will not be binding upon the village. Those three contracts attempted to modify the at-will. Those three contracts are void. Therefore, Chief Hensley and Glenn Madden are at-will employees, and as it states in 35.102, means that either the employee or the village can terminate the employment relationship at any time, with or without cause, and with or without notice, and with or without cause. Law Director Keener is a contractor at will, and the same notice and termination provisions apply to him as well. Okay, so I'd like to focus a little more on the contracts that Glenn Madden. There are two contracts in play, assuming that they're valid, which they're not, but let's make that assumption. The agreement that was made on the 3rd day of January 2019, see that highlighted there, that was the first contract. Go to the next slide. Indicates that the manager shall serve at the pleasure of council and her employment may be terminated at any time by a majority, hereby defined as 4 out of 7 members, both of council. Look at the bottom portion, term. The term of employment shall begin on February 1, 2019. And end February 1, 2024. This is an important part of this highlight. At 30 days before the date of each anniversary, the anniversary being February 1, 30 days before the date of each anniversary, the council and manager may negotiate the extension of this agreement for an additional 3-year period. Set terms to supersede or complement the terms provided herein. So what's the issue? The contract was renegotiated purportedly during city council, village council meeting on October 3rd. 2023. Now, that's a full 3 months before the renegotiation date that was permitted. Renegotiation date. Why the rush? Winds of change in the air. New council was going to be voted in. Conclusion, contract is void for failure to comply with renegotiation timeframe. This was interesting to me in my investigation. I dubbed this hiding the contractual law. Let's look at how this negotiated contract unfolded. That resolution 2023-14 showing. And that is a resolution authorizing the municipal manager to negotiate and enter into and extend the contract of Chief Henson. Important to note that the contract is not attached to this resolution. And you look by its express language that the municipal manager is authorized to negotiate and enter into a contract with Curtis O. Henson. Basically giving the manager carte blanche without council approval to enter into that agreement and bind the village. You've got the same thing in resolution 2023-15. And here it authorizes that Glenn Madden is hereby appointed municipal manager. The municipality will continue to be appointed for additional 5 years, not a 3-year term as indicated in its contract. And in fact, the contract, as it turns out, added an automatic 3-year renewal, so it's an 8-year extension. In accordance with the terms and conditions of the employment agreement negotiated by the mayor, council, and manager. Okay. No, a contract was not attached to this resolution. Let's look at the minutes. That's a typo. It should be October 3rd, 2023. Minutes, resolution 2023-14. Resolution authorizing the municipal manager to negotiate and enter into a contract with Curtis O. Henson. Then you look at the council comments on this resolution. Not one council member commented on this contract or this resolution that did not have a contract attached, except Councilmember Atkins, then Councilmember Atkins. She requested a copy of the old contract and inquired about council's involvement in negotiating the new contract. She was met with crickets. Continuing the October 23rd or October 3rd, 2023 minutes. Resolution 2023-15, continuing appointment of Glenn Madden. Yet again, look at council member comments on the resolution. Only council member Atkins commented on this particular resolution. Everybody approved it except council member Atkins without question. More from the minutes. Motion to go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G1, 2, 3, and 5 to discuss personnel matters and legal matters. Motion by Councilmember McMahon, seconded by Councilmember Singh. Okay. So what's the big deal? What's wrong? This is not a lawful entrance into executive session. The Ohio Revised Code specifically provides if you go into executive session, you must state with specificity the reasons why. Personnel does not cut it. Legal matters does not cut it. Going into executive session to discuss an employment contract, that is valid. There's other requirements for an executive session that must be met. Second, general minutes must be taken and published about the content of the executive session. Third, the mayor must come in public session after the executive session and certify to the record the general nature of the discussion held within executive session. None of this was done, and in fact, not one executive session in Manager Madden's or Law Director Keener's tenure was ever valid. Conclusions, the fix was in. Everyone knew about the contract except Councilman Atkins. The executive session was called improperly, and here's the really interesting part. Manager Madden was asked to produce a contract during public session, and she did not, but she just happened to have one with her when she went into executive session. Let's look at other infirmities of the Madden contract. And by the way, I deal extensively with all of these issues in my report. And I believe these provisions that we're reviewing right now will be held untouchable by any court that might review it. But let's look at some of the key provisions in the new contract. Revise the termination vote requirement, amended from 4 out of 7 to 2/3 of council. Remove the clause that our duties may be determined by council. 5-year extension instead of 3, but add an additional 3 years for a total of 8. Add an additional week of vacation. Pay out unused vacation, statutory time, personal days, sick leaves at time of retirement or termination, whether voluntary or involuntary. The clause in compliance with the laws and charter of municipality was also removed. Also removed was the clause that her duties may be determined by council. Revise the suspension vote requirement from 4 out of 7 to 2/3. Automatic 3-year extension at the end of initial 5-year term. Payment of full salary, PERS contributions, health, dental, vision, insurance for the agreement if fired without cause. Section 13, regarding termination, that upon termination, the village is required to compensate all accrued vacation time, sick time, compensation time, holidays remaining throughout the term of the agreement. Let's leave the contracts for now, and let's look at independent before cause termination events. Referring to New Lebanon Ordinance 35.516. It's titled an educational training incentive bonus. All full-time employees of the village who attend an accredited community college, junior college, college or university, there's the key phrase, while in the village's employ, shall be entitled to an educational incentive pay according to the following schedule. The one in play here is the 3% of the employee's base annual wage per year, payable on the second paycheck in December. The educational incentive bonus was improperly paid out to Glenna Madden, Philip Henson, Curtis Hensley, and others. All received their bachelor's degree prior to becoming in the employ of the village. It's a per se violation and pay money out of this village's coffers. Violation was dubbed consecutively Ohio Sunshine Laws. Those entails executive session and public records. I've already covered this, but it's worth covering again. Executive session requirements. Proper entrance into executive session, specificity required. Proper documentation, general minutes of executive session. Proper exit. Mayor to certify in public meeting the general nature of executive meeting discussion. Zero. Public records violations. Yeah, very serious violation. Number one, after being placed on administrative leave, Lebanon's office was searched. In her top desk drawer were 3 files of 3 police officers that were located in her desk. All these files had unfavorable content and were pulled from their personnel files with the apparent attempt to hide them from public view. When the personnel files of those 3 officers were checked, no copies of what was found in Glenn's desk were located. Reference. Built in Lebanon, codified ordinance 35.411E17. The following are examples of employee conduct that are not permitted and may result in disciplinary action, up to and including termination. This list is given as a guide to all village employees, but it is not intended to be exhaustive. And it's a very long list, but I focused on number 17, dishonesty or the unauthorized possession, removal, or use of village or another employee's property, including records or confidential information. Again, per se violation. There's numerous public record denials by Lebanon, and we're in the process of preparing a comprehensive spreadsheet detailing all public record requests made and how they were or were not filled. Another one that's concerning, village manager took who knows how many public records off-site to a private storage facility. When asked by the mayor for a key, he was denied. We do now have access and we're beginning an inventory of all those public records that were pulled off-site. Okay, failure to properly post job openings pursuant to codified ordinances 35-201, 35-301, and 35-302. 35-201 requires any open position in the village be published on the village website, may also be posted at any locations deemed appropriate by the municipal manager. 35-301 requires any permanent position that becomes available shall be filled by the promotion of a full-time or part-time qualified employee. Ordinance 35.302 requires that all permanent positions that become available shall be announced to village employees by job posting on the relevant department's bulletin board for a period of 5 workdays. Subject to further investigation, it appears that such postings were not compiled with regard to the hiring of a code enforcement administrator and the hiring of an administrative assistant to the village manager. These are not per se violations, but I have a couple concerns that I wanted to bring to council's attention. These are possible matters, police matters of concern. Number one, the village employee was involved in a December 23rd, 2023 vehicle rollover accident in front of the local McDonald's. For reasons unknown, the village manager was on the scene directing traffic. Alcohol was expressed as a concern by witnesses, but no sobriety test was performed. To this day, the matter still remains as an open case for some reason. 2, an incident involving harassment of a village council member through village police vehicles on Friday evening after Chief Hensley was placed on administrative leave. 3, an alleged leave violation was filed by Detective Weir against 2 village council members Wednesday after placed on administrative leave. There is absolutely no substance to this complaint made, and it was immediately shut down by state leads personnel. I'm recommending independent police agency investigation for all 3 items. Another matter I think that may be of interest is the transfer in over a year, 3/4 of the year, of $1 million of village investments, which seemingly could cover budget shortfalls. We've got, you see two highlights there on the spreadsheet there. This is a bank report. We show a total of $500,000 and $300,000. And then on the next sheet, we see, $500,000, $200,000. Now on the next sheet, there's a withdrawal of $300,000. Two of these withdrawals occurred in 2023. The other occurred in 2024, January 2024. The $500,000 transfer occurred on November 30, 2023. It was only documented by a resolution. In that resolution, it was stated the reason for it is because the state auditor recommended that the transfer be made to balance village funds. I've looked high and low and have found no record of that state auditor recommendation. And I believe, but I need to investigate further, that this matter should have been handled by ordinance. The remaining two transfers totaling $500,000 had no village council approval whatsoever. Further investigation is needed, but I thought it important to bring this to council's attention. And that concludes my presentation. Given the nature of the investigation, I'm not answering any questions. We should proceed to the next agenda.
Okay. Under new business. Oh, I'm sorry, unfinished business, the ordinance 2024-01. Oh, we did that, okay. Under new business, would like to add two items under new business. 2024-11 will be the first one. It's a resolution to terminate village manager Glenn Madden for cause, and in the alternative as an at-will employee. Do I have a motion for that?
There, you got the motion.
No, or a second, I'm sorry, a second.
A second.
Okay.
Councilmember Locke,
No.
Councilmember Perkins,
No.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
4-3. Motion passes.
The second one will be 2024-12. A resolution expressing the council's concerns of village employees, Police Chief Chris Hensley, Scott Rock, and Phil Pinson. We'll have a motion for this resolution. Or a second, please.
A second.
Councilmember Perkins,
No.
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy. I'm sorry, Councilmember Locke. Oh,
Yeah.
No.
4-3. Madam Chair.
Okay, still under new business ordinance 2024-02. An ordinance authorizing supplemental appropriations totaling $200,000 from the Community Enrichment Fund, C017B, Capital Equipment, C017B 52520, to the general fund under Administrative Finance Profession Services, A017A 52340, to pay special counsel, acting village manager, and for temporary financial assistance and declaring an emergency. Council members, have any questions? You have 3 minutes to make one comment on this specific ordinance. No? Go ahead. Go ahead.
We're asking for $200,000 and $650,000. Why? You got enough money in the budget already? So this isn't additive to the budget, just transferring from that fund to this. So it's not putting more money in the budget. It's taking what's currently there and splitting it. How are you going to distinguish what you get paid, what's out of the budget? If you add this $200,000, $650,000, how much you're getting paid, and how much that general government is getting paid. So I have a contract that says how much I'm getting paid, and then the special counsel will send bills, we'll be able to separate it. Does he give you a bill every week or every month or what? I imagine it'd be monthly bills. This is going to go, you know, whatever, this is going to go until August. This, and we are ready, because this is supposed to be an investigation of $200,000. It was redlined, and I never heard anything about the $200,000 that was supposed to be, you know, with the budget, normal funds are in the red by $200,000 already this year. I never heard anything from him about that at all. Not at all. About $200,000. The budget, it was red. No, you can say that. Okay, we understand. You didn't get $2,000 to be a lawyer for the council, or $250,000 an hour, $250 an hour, and that's coming out of village council taxpaying money. That's ridiculous. They're probably gonna run a lot cheaper.
Can I say something? So on that $200,000, it's not just this month, it's carrying over for 1 month, right?
Correct, that's intended to cover the entirety of the. Okay, yeah, that's true.
Entire, everything.
Correct.
So are we audited?
We're not answering any questions. We're currently still in the investigation.
So if we're still under an audit, how can we move funds from one location to another? And the other question that I have is, how did we actually do all of this where we didn't even know what fund we was going to pull the money from in the first place? Once again, I mean, this is completely out of procedure.
I don't know that I understand your question completely, but the fact that we're under audit doesn't preclude us from doing normal supplemental appropriations, which this is. You know, I identified an area in the budget where we probably don't need that much money. And instead of adding to the budget and asking you to add to the budget, we just wanted to separate those funds out and use money that's already allocated.
So you're not planning on pulling any money out of this fund ever again?
It's anticipated this should be enough, yes.
So the answer to that is no.
Answer that is no.
And who gave direction to this?
Okay, we need to stick to the ordinance that we're asking questions
Well,
about.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
It's not a question and answer session. Make your comment, right, move on.
We have to move on. You have 3 minutes and 1 comment, so. Yeah.
Whoa, no time.
Well, we're gonna move forward, okay? No, sorry, remember. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-02?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
No.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Councilmember Locke.
No.
4 yeses and 3 nos. Motion passes.
Resolution 2024-10, a resolution authorizing the acting village manager to enter into contract with Coke Construction for Blossom Street Reconstruction Phase 3 project for a cost not to exceed $441,945. Does anybody on the council have a comment about this specific resolution?
We do have, some of it is gonna be with the grant versus,
Yes, so of the total cost, about 89% of it is covered by the Ohio Public Works Commission. Of that percentage, 50% is a loan, 50% is a grant. Our out-of-pocket cost is about $54,000.
Yes.
Why we need a loan?
I would imagine because we don't have money in our street fund to pay for this.
It could be another, what do you call
A grant.
grant.
So these are competitive funds, so you score better if you take part of it as a loan, take part of it as a grant.
That's for 30 years.
Correct,
Jesus Christ.
which has been the practice of this village for a long time.
Why wouldn't you ask this question to the previous village manager?
Amen.
Please, we have more, please, okay? Keep your comments to yourself, please.
I just learned about this.
I mean, you think these two gentlemen are up here just taking money? We still have a community to run. And they need money to do that. Apparently, there's none in there. So wouldn't you ask these questions to the previous manager?
He said there's money in there. Did you say the money is in, we've got more than enough money to run the village?
For this project, we budgeted our portion of this project already, yes.
No,
Which
I
is the
asked you
57,000.
last meeting, if there was enough money.
Let's stay focused on the question, please. You're kind of starting to draw off a little bit, please.
If I can ask the question, what the hell am I here for?
We have a motion to adopt the resolution 2024-10.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Perkins,
No,
Councilmember Locke,
No.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
5 yeses and 2 noes.
Okay, next one, resolution 2024-11. A resolution to terminate village manager Glenn Madden for cause and in the alternative as an at-will employee. Same thing applies, you all have your copies. You have 3 minutes to make one comment. You have something? Go ahead, you have 3 minutes, one comment.
I was coming just to answer, hey, talk to you each time when he wants to say something. I can't.
Because he's our legal rep, he's the one that's actively involved in the investigation.
So we're following his.
I'm not following nobody, and that's out of order according to what this resolution question is.
These meetings have been run as a circus. It's not going to be a debate back and forth. Order, the proper order to conduct a meeting is to identify the subject, give each council member time to speak, not debate, not to ask questions, to speak, express their concerns or their support, and then move on. Those are the rules, how a meeting is run according to Robert's Rules of Order, and that's how these meetings are going to be run.
I disagree.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2024-11?
So moved.
I second.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
No,
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
No.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
No.
4 yeses and 3 noes.
Okay, got another one. Resolution 2024-12, a resolution expressing the council's concerns of village employees, Police Chief Curtis Hensley, Scott Rock, and Phil Hinson. Same thing applies. Identify first on the resolution only. If there's a concern or question about this resolution, you can say something. If not, we're gonna move forward.
What is it on entailing?
But you should have your copy in front of you.
I was trying to find it.
Oh, sir.
It's this.
I'm sorry. I'm here. I didn't.
He didn't give
I'm
us.
sorry.
can I move forward?
If you want to go through that.
No,
It's been a report.
Turn it off.
Yeah, that's to. That's what I'm trying to do.
We need some more time. So, okay, so we, sorry. Okay, is there any council comments on this specific resolution? Perkins,
So, what this orders, right?
just this 2024-12.
Why wasn't it delivered Friday?
That's why I gave it to you today. Give you time, that's why gave you time to read it. Here,
The goal of the last time was to receive.
okay, that doesn't pertain to what the resolution is, sir.
Never mind.
Okay,
You
do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2024-12?
Motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Mayor Dickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
No,
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Councilmember Perkins,
No,
Councilmember Beck.
Yes.
4 yeses, 3 noes. Motion passes.
Okay, the next is public comments or questions. I will call your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak and be heard. Once your time is up, you'll be thanked, but no additional time will be given, and no donation of time by others will be allowed. We will not be stopping your time, but may, if necessary, address your comment after you have finished speaking. Tammy Joy, 35 Comer Court.
On January 2nd of this year, the village of New Lebanon swore in a new mayor and 2 new members to council. They took an oath to the charter and its ordinance of New Lebanon. But yet on February 20th, seeing those individuals had no issues breaking that oath. The travesties continue. You had her being a clerk. It only suits you when necessary, apparently. Ms. Atkins, were you familiar with McNamee Law Group or any of his law groups prior to this?
No,
No. Do you know the McNamee name?
no, I never even met you before.
Really?
Have I ever met you before?
You don't know the law firm? Not even the McNamee name?
There's lies, ma'am, just make your statement.
I don't know.
Who handled your divorce?
I don't even remember. That was back in, was it him? That was back in, what was it, 2000? Back in 2000.
So, Mr. Anderson, have you read our charter and our ordinances? Are you familiar with them? Have you read our ordinance and our charter?
Ma'am, this is not a question and answer, make your statement or be out of order.
It's funny how we were 200K short, but now, you know, we find 200K and we have to move it to pay these idiots. Anyway. Apparently, I read that, Mr. Anderson was online, he resigned from Fairborn in November of 2023 due to mental health issues. Oh, shut up.
Come on, we take order before you be dismissed.
I was wondering if he was still being paid by Fairborn. Seems unethical, I'm just saying. And Mr. Nickerson, you ran for mayor on the premise of transparency, but your transparency is clear as mud.
Thank you. Darla Eds, 670 Homeway.
It was Darla at 670 Homeway. You know, I don't know that anything I can say will make any difference after what I've heard this evening. And what I would like to remind you all is that there are 6 council members here, not 3. Anything that the other 3 council members have said, you shut them down. And that is against their freedom of speech. You're all about saying what was not done, what has been done, what's been done wrong, but you will not let them talk. And anytime the tough questions are asked, they're out of order. That, my friends, is a dictatorship. And it's wrong. And I can tell you this, that when this is all said and done, there's not a decent human being that's gonna want to work or live in this community. Because this is what you all stand for. And I'm ashamed because I have lived here my entire life, have raised my kids here, and have loved every minute of it. And now we come here to these meetings and people aren't even allowed to speak their mind. The only ones that are allowed are the ones that you give the graces to. Ridiculous. I do want to say, and I was going to leave this out, but I think there are some things that need to be said. Gina Bemis, you seem to love to call my son out for his conflict of interest. But let me tell you something. My son has been on the fire department since he graduated from high school, mainly as a volunteer. Okay? I would think that that would be looked at as a good thing, because I think if there's a medical emergency or a fire, you all are gonna be glad to see him, as well as the other fire department members and the police department. So just keep that in mind. Yes, ma'am, you were.
There's some comments up front here.
Okay, well, she can keep it quiet while I'm talking.
Okay.
And I would say, if we're talking about a conflict of interest, it could very well be her working in the school system. Her kids go there, right? So could there be preferential treatment to her children, maybe sports, maybe their teachers treating them differently? You know, you could only hope, though, that your kids are as selfless as mine. Furthermore, you talk about your puppet comment. You talk about us being puppets that come here to this council meeting. Let me tell you what a puppet is. A puppet is somebody that can go and they can vote for an ordinance that they know nothing about and vote yes with good conscience. That's a puppet. Vice Mayor Atkins, you felt the need to call me out for rolling my eyes and shaking my head. If you had been paying attention to the matters at hand, you would have never noticed that.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No, you'll have your time on your agenda. Yeah, on your agenda, yes. Paul Ball, 138 Glenallen Court, please.
Paul Ball, 138 Glenallen Court. First off, I want to bring up some things that caught my attention on this one. Number one, I think everybody's noticed that there's differential between Tammy, Gail, Mr. Perkins and the rest of the council. Mr. Joy has his daughter that was Glenna's assistant, and she has now been put on administrative leave. I believe per the ethics code that maybe we should vote to dismiss or suspend Mr. Joy for a conflict of interest. As well as the fact that I see in the newspaper, Mr. Nickerson being attacked on a regular basis. And I feel absolutely horrible for you because I hear that you have personal vendettas. The only thing that I seem to, excuse me, I'm sorry. The only thing that I see is somebody that's trying to stand up to our community, and all of the comments that are being addressed at people seem to be going to Mr. Nickerson, who I think is a great guy. I apologize, sorry.
You're fine.
I'm
Don't apologize for
too,
that.
because, I live in this community, and I see these people here that I've never seen before, and I don't see them defending New Lebanon. I don't see them defending our community. I see them defending individual people. I find it disgraceful. I find it distasteful, and I'm sorry to the poor people up here that is trying to help the community for being berated by these people. And you asked why you're up here, Mr. Perkins. Do you want to be honest? Visually, it looks like you're being used as a puppet. So I just want to be honest with you. Okay. Thank you very much as well. When people were running for council, I would talk to you in the back, and you would tell me all the issues that was going on with council. You gave me your number personally, actually, and asked me to call you and speak to you so you could discuss some of the issues with me. And yet, you're defending people that clearly have violated law, clearly have done a disservice to this community. I'm beyond myself. So I just ask for the community to weigh everything, to actually, instead of just thinking about the people, think about the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Natasha Farley, 136 Broadwood.
Thank you. I just wanted to come up here because of the last meeting, I got here 12 minutes late, didn't get an opportunity to sign and speak public comments. Because it's, the last few meetings, I seem to have been a popular topic. So, hello everyone, I am Natasha Farley. Yes, I was the one who was appointed to the 3 boards, I hold those 3 seats, yes. I was unaware that I was supposed to submit a full-blown resume. As far as I know, I was just supposed to submit an email expressing my interest to hold the seat, which is what I did. As far as experience doing a lot of it, I don't have much, okay? I will tell you that I have integrity, that I can think outside of the box, that I can respect people in their situations, that I can be unbiased in decisions, that I can make educated decisions. I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. I have been watching you sit up here for years, unable to come here because my husband works second shift and we have 1 vehicle and I have small children. I have watched you all pass all kinds of things and not ask one question about where does the money come from? Where is the money going? You just pass everything, not a single question. Just like it was shown earlier, you passed a contract that you didn't even get to read. And now we want to show all this concern about reading everything and where's the money coming from? Seriously? Can we grow up and be the adults that we are? I am appalled. And from the people of the community, I am appalled. How can there be so much backlash against finding out what is wrong with this village?
Everybody has complaints about the roads, the water, about how we don't have money to fix it. Well, now we have people in here looking into where it went and why we can't fix it. And as for Chris Eds, I'll go ahead and join on that too. He's collecting 2 full-time salaries. How are you collecting 2 full-time salaries and completing 2 jobs? And completing those completions? If they overlap, how are you doing that? You don't. You don't. It seems to be a recurring thing in this village, because let's not forget George Marcus, who was our fire chief, our municipal manager, and our public safety director, all conflicting positions and collecting salaries on all of them, as well as volunteer pay. It's insane. And you all wanna, and you wanna point me out for my bias. But George Marcus can sit on the Personnel Appeals Board, the Planning Board, the Tax Appeals Board, the Zoning Board. I'm sorry, I'm finished. That is all that I have. You all have a great night.
Thank you. Joshua Farley, 136 Brown.
How you guys doing this evening? Mr. Good. Ms. Atkins, Mr. Perkins, you guys were the only ones that were sitting here when I was arrested on February 7th, so I will only be addressing you 3 this evening, of course. I tried to express that what was being done in the executive session was being done illegally. You guys were trying to hide things behind your back. I simply called out the dereliction of the duty of the mayor, and you guys participated in a conspiracy to get arrested. Not only that, I asked you to come forward and come clean and say that it was wrong. You wouldn't even do that. You know, I would like to say, Mr. Boggs, you've already stepped down. As far as I'm concerned, you have no step. You came back after you stepped down saying you were going to be investigated, and then Ronald looked into you, which was completely unethical. I'm sure we're looking into that stuff too, but I'm not too concerned about that. You had any shred of integrity, you stepped down. You've done nothing but defend somebody who is clearly taking advantage of her position over and over and over. It really doesn't make sense at this point to still defend it. And I did see you vote yes, try to save some face. I saw you. It was a good move. I guess I do want to just touch on Mr. Ariel, since he's in the room. He was in dereliction that night. You guys were in violation that night of executive session, Ohio Revised Code, and you did have me arrested unjustly, put in prison, kidnapped essentially. So thank you guys very much for the conspiracy to deprive me of my right to free speech.
Thank you, Mr. Farley. Next is administrative staff comments. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Shannon. 130 Road. I thought you were on here for the agenda as well.
Yeah, I'm on both.
Okay.
Okay, so I first would like to address, Ms. Eds. So I've never brought up Chris's name, and I've always said he's a good worker. I love Chris. He's been in my house on medical situations. What I did say was to level out the playing field if people would listen. That Mr. Anderson is new, has his people coming up, and I said, this is the woman and her son makes 2 full-time salaries. Now, he does fire at night and service during the day, and he's a great fireman. He's come to my house. I've never had an issue, never said a bad thing about the man. So that is not accurate. Lyndon, you asked the interim manager if we had money. That's what you asked him, and he said yes. Obviously, we have money, but that was a broad statement, a question that you asked him, and it was just given a yes thing. As far as the $200,000 in the red, I could probably give you an idea of what that was just because of the financial reports that I received, and that's maybe about individual funds, not necessarily, I think that's what you're talking about. So yeah, so Chris Eds, like I said, I don't mention people by name. I did that one night just to kind of explain who was speaking. That was the mother of someone who was being paid to work here. Violation of ordinances and this isn't a violation. I think it's hilarious that you guys think anything's a violation at all, because like this presentation said, none of your executive, I've been telling you guys for a long time you're doing everything wrong, right? I've been saying this, and I'm an amateur, I'm not, I trust this man up here, he's an attorney, I mean, he's not gonna put this stuff out here. So I don't know what we're in violation of, but I think it's really funny, I think it's hilarious. Real quick, so I know my time's gonna be up, and I'll finish the rest after. I apologize, Mr. Anderson, on behalf of the village, that a citizen would come up and even probe or insinuate anything personal to anybody. That's wrong, and isn't your wife a nurse? Come on. Mental health is real. I have OCD, I have anxiety, I'm not ashamed to say it, but I also have a friend that their daughter, 14 years old, hung herself in her garage from suicide, depression. So it's very real to me, very real at where I work with the schools, and with mental health issues. So how dare anybody bring up someone's mental health? Disgusting. Disgusting. And I hope that your family's never touched by mental health issues. Proud. As far as somebody saying council members, you know what? For many years, all 7 of you guys just sat there and said yes. Okay, I will finish this. I've got a little bit, so I'll talk to you in a few.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Okay, administrative staff comments. Does anybody have anything for the police chief or fire chief this evening? Chiefs, you guys have anything?
I got nothing. I don't have anything.
None. Municipal manager comments.
Nothing like that.
Does anyone on the council have anything for the municipal manager?
So you're clerk now, when was Nicole removed as clerk? Did you remove her as clerk?
Yeah, in place is good.
Okay. Also in regards to, the chief position, Nicole clerk and, Chris's position and they're being put in those positions, are they being paid accordingly for that? Because they're not, I mean, and I'm talking about the ones that's been moved up because people were put on paid leave. Are they being paid for those positions accordingly for that? And was Nicole paid for her clerk position? Because they were moved to those positions.
So no, they're not then tossed up to take on responsibility, and Nicole was not paid.
Nicole, was you told you were not going to be clerk?
I didn't even know I was gonna be called that night until Bill decided that he wasn't gonna do the minutes.
Well, no, I know Mayor
Yeah,
appointed you, but I mean, did you know you weren't
I
going to
knew,
be?
I
He
knew,
contacted you.
they
Okay.
told me I was not gonna be. Do it. Yes.
I know I've given you a lot of council requests, but I haven't gotten anything back.
Yeah, so we're, as you can imagine, inundated with requests, so going through those, trying to prioritize yours, obviously. So I'll work on that this week.
Okay, I appreciate that. The other thing, do you have? Am I gonna, sorry, there are a lot of them are for you, unfortunately. Was all the key fobs turned in on the 20th?
As far as I know, yes,
Okay, do you have access to the building?
I have access to the buildings.
Okay, do you have a key fob?
I do.
Is there a reason why you're not accessing the building?
Well, I'm not accessing the building? This building?
Yes.
Yeah, I access this building frequently.
Right, it's your own key fob?
So it was one that we had left over, I took.
Can I get a list of everyone who has access?
The key fobs?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
And
ask.
badges or anything,
I'll
I'll
ask
get that
the
list as
second
well.
chamber's blowing up.
Sorry, I'm getting thrown off, there's so much comments from the audience, it's distracting me. So I apologize, but I wanna make sure, because there's a couple of things that somebody asked me to ask you, and I wanna make sure I ask for them. Do we know why 2 additional employees were put on paid leave?
That was at the direction of the special counsel.
Special counsel, okay. Are they being investigated as well?
Yes, I'm not part of that process.
Mr. Van, apologize, Manning, can you answer that? Are they under investigation, I mean, 2 additional employees that were put on leave, can you answer that? Or no? You cannot answer it. Was there a reason why you terminated another employee? The person who runs our, is involved in with our Camp Connects and everything is getting ready to start up.
So we had an employee that was submitting timesheets that I never laid eyes on, asked what the responsibilities were. She submitted another timesheet, I asked her what she could submit, what she had been doing. Still have not received that, terminated her employment, she filed for employment.
Okay. Do you know what, and these are some of the questions that people have been asking me, are we having Camp Connect and the garden and so forth? Since we have no one?
So I don't have any, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. I think that's it, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have any more, I'll just email you if that's okay.
Mr. Perkins, you got something?
Yeah. Who's doing the zoning job?
So I'm filling in on zoning at the moment.
Do you know there's campers and trailers on the side of houses, and I think that's against the zoning? Can you check that out?
So if you give me some addresses, I'll be glad to check it out.
So I gotta do part of your work now, right?
No, I just, I don't drive the city looking for violations.
Because
I certainly don't have time to do that.
if I call the zoning, can't remember her name, she took me in the car, she go around the town and check it out. So you can't do that.
I don't have the time to do that.
Are you gonna hire anybody?
Not to that point yet.
It was your recommendation that the zoning manager or zoning person and the other person to
They're on paid leave and it was at the direction of the special counsel.
You're so old. You're gonna get a statement from the group every month, how much money you got there, about the tax money.
I imagine he'll submit a bill. Monthly, I would guess.
That's also good, so, is that for his attorney fee also, or is that separate?
So there'll be a separate for the law director fee and special separate for the special counsel.
Because I believe with the village, people that are paying taxes, would like to know how much you're paying, because, eventually it's gonna be a wheel of $200,000, which he was supposed to be investigated, and it's not being investigated, and $200,000 is supposed to be in the grid.
So to answer your question, the law director fee is going to be the same as what Mr. Feeney was making.
Could you possibly, but, but it's too late now. Found another attorney that was with the group, there had to be, I know there's an attorney over in Brookville, because I passed it when we go to the E-Tech, the smorgasbord, or someplace in Eaton or West Alec, he couldn't do that, or was that his recommendation that he do the attorney fee?
So according to the charter, the law director serves at the pleasure of the mayor and council. I do not hire him. I do not employ him. I do not direct him. He is directed by you.
So in other words.
So it has nothing to do with me.
In other words, the mayor hired him now. Is that correct?
I don't know that. As far as I would say, probably yes, he's here.
Mr. Mayor, did you hire him as a?
We talked and he was highly recommended, so yes. At the request of the state
At the request of the state to do that?
during our investigation, yes.
Check on that. Thank you.
Somebody else has something?
I do,
Go ahead.
everybody else is done. So we have an employee for Camp Connect. That's what they're hired for, Camp Connect.
I'm told. I get the eyes on this person.
Have you talked to this person?
So,
Only 3 years.
hold on, Nicole. So, who's this person?
Marilyn Brown.
So she strictly was paid for Camp Connect.
I don't know that. I think it was also for special events and things that happen throughout the year, not just.
What else do you know?
I'll have to look at the email that she sent when I asked her what her duties were. I can't recall the top.
Interesting. And how much was she paid?
I can't. I don't even want to guess. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I can let you know that. Though.
Absolutely, I would love to know that.
Certainly.
And was she an employee for, do you know how long?
You know.
Mr. Anderson, I submitted a list of questions. While I've been getting those questions.
I will work with the special counsel to answer your questions.
Yeah, everything else that you want.
Vice Mayor comment?
Give me this information, what Melissa asked.
I will send it all.
Thank you.
And I just have one brief comment. Piggyback what Shannon Beaton said, I too suffer from mental illness. It's called post-traumatic stress disorder in combat when I served my country. And I don't appreciate it either, especially not knowing that this person was a nurse. You would think that under certain HIPAA laws would be something that would prevent you from saying that. But I too suffer from mental illness, and how dare you address that toward me? So when you can do something.
It was a news article.
Oh, okay, it's you still referenced it, so I still struggle with that after 30 years, so.
All you have to do is read it.
No, I don't, I choose not to, and I'm not gonna debate it with you, okay? So that's all I have to say for this evening on comments. Next one, request to be added for agenda, Shannon Bemis, please.
Oh, where do I start? Okay, let's start with board positions, okay? Board positions. I don't want to hear this. On February 5th of 2019, Glenna Haddon was sworn in as municipal manager, leaving a vacant council seat. At that same meeting, her cousin was appointed to take her position. On 1/7 of 20, I submitted my letter of interest for a vacant board position. Don Miller, David Lewis, and Chris Landis were appointed. I was told the deadline was 1/2, and Glenna received mine on 1/3. 2/18 of 2020, Melissa Sexton and I both applied for vacant board positions. Linda Lewis, Randy Juman, George Rickett, Tom Simon, and Tammy Locke were appointed. Two things aside from, we didn't get it again. Ken Anderson had just, when these people got appointed in February 18, Mayor Nixon had just filed his appeal, literally just filed his appeal weeks before. The hearing was on 5/1. The person appointed to the Personnel Appeals Board on 2/18, their home was on the market 3/26. Sale was pending on 4/1. The deed was signed on 5/8. His hearing was on 5/1. Coincidental that somebody is going to sell their house and put in for a board position while they're selling their home? I don't know. Second thing, because now it's getting personal. Tammy Locke on the Board of Tax Appeals. So, Mr. Joy,
You said that Natasha Farley did not have any qualifications, education, this and that, right? No, she didn't list them. She didn't list them. She did not provide them. So let me rephrase that. Right? So you didn't know what to go off of. So what qualifications, education, and background did Tammy Locke have to go on the tax appeals board? Was it the multiple liens that she's got against her for not paying her taxes? The criminal charges from the village itself for not paying taxes? The judgments that are on Montgomery County Public Record System? All of the multiple cases from tax problems? Did you do the research in the background to see what her qualifications were then? Yes or no?
No,
Right.
I didn't
Right.
do hers either.
Right, because it's never been a question. Nothing's ever been questioned. Nothing's ever been looked into, okay? So let me continue. On 1/3/23, Melissa Sexton applied for a vacant board position. 2 people got it. Melissa, of course, was not one of them. Glenna said she never got her email. You guys notice like where I'm going, it's like a trend pattern. On 1/6/24, there were 2 open board positions, and one person was voted on for both positions. The person did not get it, and I'm trying to be respectful and not use this person's name. Tasha put in for the positions, and Glenn said it was due by 1/11, and she didn't get it until 1/14. Another submission she didn't get, or she got late. I mean, we must all have problems. On 2/6/24, Natasha Farley resubmitted her email for the boards. Now, just the very next meeting, 2 more people, 2 additional people put in for these same said boards. Okay, so. I heard they were called, just to put it nicely, to ask to be put in for the boards, so. But that's normal for the village, right? Just like when Glenn and Ray used to sit in the mayor's office and call Craig Roberts and say, hey, Craig, I need you to run for council. So, people were upset that a certain person didn't get a position. Right? Somebody was disrespected. Well, that person that was disrespected in those organizations that we also disrespected never meets opposition. Right? They're volunteer boards. They're all there for the same cause. It's Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, a book club. You're not gonna have conflict typically. So of course there's no problem with those people. Because I'll tell you right now, remember Guided by Mushrooms when it was going on Broadway to Main Street and everybody was against it and I stood up here and I said, no, I don't know these people. I'm not gonna judge these people and I defended these people, correct? Glenn Madden and this other said person came. Thank you so much, Shannon. That was great. We appreciate it. So you like me when I agree with you. You don't like me when I don't.
I've never said I don't like you.
I know, yeah. No, I'm not saying, I'm talking about this unnamed person because I don't want to disrespect any further.
Well, you're directing everything to me, so you're looking directly at me.
Well, I think because I'm the most disappointed in you.
Yeah.
So right back to this Tasha Farley submitted 3 people, Brittany Talley, you know, I love Brittany, I know her personally, I do love Brittany. Tasha was the only one that put in for the tax appeals board, so you can't say, oh, okay, so that was one, so you have 2 boards now, you have the Parks and Rec board and your personal appeals board. Doug Thompson's an accountant, Doug Thompson's a great guy, I'm sure he's got probably, say, a 3-page resume, I expect him to be 5. I can't say a bad thing about Doug. But you're telling me that by the next meeting, Doug Thompson, who's been MIA for a long time, because remember, he said nobody on council had a pulse when he was on here and couldn't get anything done. So he pops out of the woodwork and Brittany pops out of the woodwork. So, yeah, but anyway, so, back to the bias, non-biasness and that stuff. I don't think, you know, Tasha's been coming up here for the same reason why I have, and that's just to make things right. Because for so long, we've known that things are wrong. And nobody either wanted to believe it, or they were covering up for people, or whatever it may be. But I want this to be a strong community, and it wasn't happening with previous council. I don't know if you guys literally were blind, didn't want to look, or just didn't want to acknowledge. I don't know what it was. I really honestly don't know. And also said, bringing up as a reason for Tasha not being on it, her spouse wanted to abolish the charter. Well, the charter is set up for a specific reason that our village has seen to abuse. And that doesn't have anything to do with her. That to me just wasn't, let's call it what it is. If I was on council, what would I have done? I would have called Mr. Thompson and I said, Mr. Thompson, how would you feel about being on the tax appeals board? You're an accountant, this is what you do. Would you consider going for that one? And maybe then, this isn't a conspiracy. As many of you guys want to think this, council has been a conspiracy for decades now. You guys are a group of corrupt puppets, and I hate that term, but puppets. You're all yeses. And Lyndon, you're sinking down that hole, man, and I love you.
Thank you.
Do you still love me?
But he's giving me more than 3 minutes.
Because I requested to be on the agenda. So Mr. Joy, and I'm not gonna just pick on you, but this is just the order I'm going. You said at the last meeting you had a lot of questions. You were asking questions and you wanted date and time. Who initiated date and time? Who communicated date and time? What is the relationship between the mayor and council members and law firm? How can we not care before about relationships with anybody else? We have multiple relationships. We had the very first meeting that Glenn was here, you guys appointed her cousin to take her spot. Your daughter, which I can't say a bad thing about Star. Star's a sweetheart. But you're wanting to ask about relationships when hasn't that been questioned for you? So it just didn't seem like it didn't really make sense that you were asking that question. I don't think anybody is related on council. If anybody's related on council, please raise your hand. I don't know if anybody works together. I don't know if anybody, I don't know what we're trying to accomplish here with that. You asked, when was the interim manager appointed? Mr. Anderson said 2/21 at 9 a.m. You asked him when the contract was signed. He said 2/21. You said you were curious how the contract was negotiated and signed between 8 p.m. on 2/20 and 9 a.m. on 2/21. So I'm kind of curious, how is Glenna's contract negotiated and signed between the hours of 8:45 and 9:45 p.m. that same night? Council stated negotiations started 4 months early because time was needed to negotiate. This contract was a lot bigger than that when referring to the LOI contract. So it was just such a big contract that needed negotiations and they needed time. That's why you negotiated so early. When I repeatedly said at 30 days, at 30 days. And I'm so glad I was right. So yeah, that was an hour. You guys negotiated, signed it, everything. That's quick. You asked what account are we using to pay for a law firm and manager? Was the budget approved for this? Well, we're already budgeted and appropriated in the budget under contractual services for admin for law services. Now, if they need to make amendments to that, then they can just do a resolution amending the 2024 appropriations. So there's your answer. And I'm not even, that's just, You said the public needs these questions answered. What about all of the questions and issues that have been brought up for all these years? And I'm not just talking about myself. What about all the people that have flooding or have problems with trees? You have the guy on Church Street, the guy on Gloucester Street, you have the guy down towards. There's been so many people that have stood at this podium saying, I've called for months, nobody calls me back. I've emailed for months, nobody calls me back. Mr. Ulrich with the fire hydrant situation, which was completely lied to. I had service department workers take a picture of the skid of fire hydrants that have been sitting at the service department for a year. And she said they're on back order. Remember that? Oh, and then note that she found it was her mistake. And then they couldn't put them in because all the guys had COVID. Nope, had a tech service department saying everybody was working, only one person was on it, it was Scott Brock getting a tattoo. Lies, lies, lies. You said, you keep digging this hole. There is no hole. Remember when, I don't even know if this maybe did, but remember when you were a kid, like my parents did this, and they'd say, yeah, if you keep digging, you're gonna end up in China. Did anybody's parents ever say that? You'll see China. We're in China, Gail. We've been in China. So the last meeting, Ms. Joyce said that Tammy and Gail were not allowed to answer my questions. They had to sit there with their mouths shut. That is not why. It's because you have no answers. You have no justification to any of this. Tammy Locke. You had a lot of the same questions Gail had, almost like a script, a duplicate script. People are asking for public records requests and they're not getting filled. Do you know how many months I would wait for public records requests? Do you know how many public records requests I've never been gotten a reply to or gotten a denial from? I've done simple emails that still are in my sent box that I've never gotten a reply to. But it doesn't matter because I'm not your friend. You had concern about special counsel and being a law director, getting paid 2 times. No, that's not how it works. So when he's doing his, and I'm assuming, but it's just kind of common sense. When you're doing your special counsel work, that's the rate that you're being paid at. You're not sitting here as a law director right now, getting paid for special counsel as well. It's, you're getting paid this or you're getting paid that. You're not getting paid both at the same time. Somebody brought up about it being ethical. Could you do both positions? You know what? It's protecting our village. Yeah. It's protecting our village. So we have. I don't. She'll put her kid. To make sure everything's okay. I mean, they're both on behalf of the village as a whole, financially, judicially, legislatively, just as we operate. I don't know if any of you have looked, but I went on the Fair Boards. It's really nice, the website, you guys stream. And I went through and I was watching some meetings, and you know what? I'm very impressed. Very impressed. You had a great council, a great facility. It has a cool skate park. It was damaged. I don't know if you were still there. It was damaged. And this guy came up, and it was really neat how your city was working. And I will tell you, I watched the last meeting you were at, and the citizens that came up, and the way that the council members spoke, to losing you and all that you've done for that community, just gave me kind of a reassurance that this is maybe the right thing to do, when I was doubting at times. So you both were very impressive. Everybody should go check it out. All their videos, other meetings are good. Last week I received a piece of paper in my mailbox. And it was a list of, I don't drop it off. List of public records requests from 2023, and it showed Tammy Locke, who requested David Nickerson's employee file, specifically his disciplinary and grievances. And that information was actually posted anonymously on Facebook on election day. So I called Mayor Nickerson, actually, and I dated it, timed it. I called him on Friday, 3:15 at 2:53. I told him I received this. So what do you think about this? He said that the second meeting you guys had, you approached him and apologized and told him that you posted it. You were told he was a bad guy and you realized he wasn't what they say he is. And you know what's really kind of funny about that though? I'm gonna tell a secret. This was the night the annexation guy was here, right? And there's a big map over here. And that's where you talk. And I was looking at the map. And I heard the whole thing. Your council member, you can't do that stuff. So, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know your, McNamee, Mr. McNamee, I would like you to look, I don't know if I can do this, into, having Tammy Locker removed as a council member, because that's disgraceful.
It's election interference.
There's no order in that.
Lyndon. I love you. Has any council member called you since all of this has been going on? What? Come closer. Has any member of council called you on the phone or come to your house?
That's my business. That's my business.
Were you given a list of questions to ask at the last meeting?
It's not about questions.
Were you given a list of questions to ask at the last meeting?
I think we're gonna start on Sunday. And I start writing them down on a sheet of paper. I wrote them down. But I'm not allowed to ask them because I only get 3 minutes. Because I had one for the mayor, I had one for him, and I had one for the leader of the group. But I can't ask those because the wife got a little perturbed with me because I did it on a Sunday and the TV's there, but I thought it was big enough that I asked each question, but I never got to ask them because it was under investigation.
Right, which all of you should understand if you know how investigations work.
Yes, sir.
Which, if anybody knows how an investigation works, you can't ask or answer anything. You can't. I mean, for you to even ask a question and put the interim municipal manager, law director, mayor, any other council member, you're in essence kind of tainting the investigation. I mean, your job up there is to sit up there, be quiet, and wait for the results of the investigation. This is way out of anybody's reach. I mean, if I'm assuming, if you receive information, the rest of council will be given information. Am I correct?
Well, can I ask one question to you? That ordinance we got just this evening
Yeah.
to read, I was gonna ask the question, why we didn't deliver it in that package on Friday? But I didn't get my answer, because that's the way it's gonna be done, his way or the highway.
Well, and I don't agree with that, that's the way it's gonna be. I think sitting here, go ahead, Mr. Perkins.
For some reason or other, and I'll let people know, usually I carry $100 bill on me all the time, but I left it at home. I was gonna put a $100 bill right there, and I guarantee you, it'll be 4 to 3 every time, 4 to 3, 4 to 3, guarantee it.
Really?
Yep.
How's it feel?
Hey, I'll sit here and listen.
I mean, I really hate to say that, I hate that tit for tat thing, but you know what? I've watched Nicole Atkins up here getting her butt handed to her, trying to ask questions and get some accountability, and all of you shut her down.
Amen.
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
I just learned something though. In order to answer as many questions as you're asking, I have to get on the agenda.
No, you have council member comments.
No, I get 3 minutes, that's it. 3 minutes, that's it.
Okay, well, maybe you guys should have a work session and work this out then. That's my advice to you.
3 minutes.
Okay, well, that's for an ordinance or a resolution.
No, it was for member comments.
Council member comments are only 3 minutes.
Right.
Council member comments are only 3 minutes
For the specific resolutions.
for specific resolutions.
Yeah, so
Can I interject something? We will do a work session. We'll plan it. Then we'll let everybody know a date and time.
I do feel, I appreciate the order, I appreciate the formality of the meetings. And something that I noticed was that citizens were able to before talk about resolutions and ordinances, and we haven't been. I'm used to the time limit change. We've had previous council was all over the place with it. I think you can have a work session and talk, but I think that, right now with the investigation, pretty much everything you guys are talking about is just stuff that can't be discussed. And the stuff that was voted on tonight is like hit in the face. And for you guys to vote no, the three of you need to go. I'm sorry, and I love you, Lyndon, I love.
I ain't going nowhere.
The courthouse and the sewer. What made you all of a sudden, after these years, want to go tour these facilities?
Because I was never able to do it the first time it was offered.
And just to let you know, as far as the House Bill 33, that ordinance with 3 readings, you had made a statement saying, how are we gonna tell 16-year-olds they have to pay taxes now? Who's gonna tell them, right?
Right.
They do have to pay taxes now at 16. My kids, since they've been 16 years old, have had to file taxes. That's what you do. This House bill will now make it to where they're 18. So they will not have to file taxes until they're 18 years old.
It's about time they did something right.
Right, well, now you're for it, right? You were against it last week.
But I didn't think a 16-year-old should have to pay taxes, but you're looking to get them to school.
Right, but again, for further information, that's how it has been. This is fixing that to where they will be 18 to file taxes. They won't have to at 16 anymore.
But my other question, if you remember right, who was gonna notify these kids that they had to do that? They don't automatically know it?
Well, in school, they learn that, the parents, they learn that, but I mean, on your village taxes, it says right on the top, if you're 16 and up, that you have to file municipal city taxes or village taxes. I mean, everybody just has to, I mean, it's your job to kind of be informed a little bit. So anyways, okay, because I don't think wrong. So the biggest thing was, the big question for the three of you is who's gonna pay for all of this? You know what? I do not even want anybody to respond. I would be upset if you guys responded and answered. Who's gonna pay for this? Who's gonna pay for all of the stuff that we've been spending money on? The salaries. Oh my gosh, I have all the 1099s, the W-2s, the salaries, the vehicles, the equipment. We have ADT for security. We have PLE for security. We have freaking Pace Analytical. We're paying thousands of dollars to for water testing. We're paying the city of Eaton for water testing. Then we've got a guy that we're paying $66,000 a year to be our record certified person of record for the water department. And another guy, $44,000 for the sewer department. Like, oh my gosh, I have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars I can save you by tomorrow morning. It's sick. No. The court building. $2,200 a month. We're paying to have the court building cleaned. It's been empty for a year. So you wanna know how we're gonna pay for Mr. Anderson? Guess what? We're not gonna clean the court building anymore. How's that sound? $2,200 a month, right? That'll pay for you, sir. There. That's one problem down. Let's see. How are we gonna pay for you? I have tons of ideas. So the last meeting was asked about a temporary financial service to come in. And Tammy and Gail both said, we don't have enough information. We don't know this is gonna cost the taxpayers. We don't know how much this is gonna cost. Well, 11/16 of 2021, resolution 2021-17. You all voted for a 1-year agreement with Shared Resource Center for financial services since Brenda quit. Nobody wanted more information. Nobody wanted to see the contract. You guys were spending $2,500 a month for that financial service. And then just 2 months later, you guys swore and filled. So I don't know how that 1-year contract worked out for you guys. Court building. Again, we knew in 2019 that this court building was leaving. We knew that. It's been empty for a year. Paying $2,200 a month to clean it? It's $26,400 a year. So you're talking about a community center, talking about putting the police department over there. It's been talked for years. For years we've been discussing this. When's it gonna happen? When's it gonna, I'm waiting this, I'm waiting this, I'm waiting this. It was supposed to be open this spring. Remember? Oh, we're gonna put the police department in there. Oh, we're gonna have a workout center. It was supposed to be open this spring, if you guys remember. And then remember, we were waiting on the architect, and we're waiting, it was everybody's fault. It's always somebody else's fault for everything. COVID, or back order, or this company, or that company. But we just in January did a feasibility study for $3,000 on it for the first time. So I don't know how we were gonna do all that in like a month. My notes. That's really funny. So you guys had resolution 2024-10 on here for Blaster Street reconstruction, phase 3, right? You three voted no on it? Did you vote yes on it? Did you vote tonight, the Blaster Street project?
Yes.
Okay. You two, Glenna got that. That was Glenna's thing. Yeah, this wasn't him taking out a loan for us. This was already done, it's been discussed for months. Blaster phase 3, part grant, part loan, OPWC. So you have the nerve, Mr. Linden, to ask about, why are we taking a loan? Do you know how much we have in OPWC debt?
No,
Yes,
I ain't guessing, tell me,
yes,
tell me.
$4.5 million.
What?
Oh,
Do you know that?
I don't know. I don't know, but you do that. Okay. Yeah. $4.5 million in OPWC loans, and that's the only reason why I say this is because I do love OPWC loans. So interest free, we need to get roads done. That's another conversation for another day. But here you are attacking, in a sense, this man, and you voted no on this resolution for something that Glenna presented to you guys. He had nothing to do with it. And you have always voted on OPWC loans. This is a phase project. This is Blaster phase 3. And you voted no because you don't want a loan. When that's all you've been doing was taking out loans. $4.5 million worth. Do I have your attention now?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Lyndon.
Would you consider running for the council?
No,
Why not?
no.
You'd rather be down there?
I would rather, I don't care who you are, Melissa's my best friend, everybody else, like, whatever.
Well, it seemed like you got all the answers, but it seemed like you'd be able to help the council a whole lot better up here.
See, what I'm trying to do is I want you to be more educated. I want you to ask more questions, okay? I shouldn't have to sit up there to do your job. What you're basically saying is, I can't do this, so can you? That's not the answer, Linda. I want to be able to sit here and hold Melissa Sexton, my best friend, accountable, and don't think I won't. Don't think I won't. The same thing like having the interest with me working at the school with my son. I have nothing to do with his academics. My son just got a lunch detention last week for something stupid, trust me. He gets it probably harder than the other kid, which is how it should be. That's accountability. You don't give me special treatment. There's talk about, there's 3 council members up here that now can't talk, and it's all up to you 4. And for years, that's all I've sat here and seen was a posse. I'll change my word, I don't use puppet anymore. It's the posse. The posse had no idea what they were voting on, didn't ask questions, nothing. And I mean, it's like, I don't want to be up here and be mean. I'm not a mean person, but it's like, come on. I've hit my head against the brick wall for the final time. So it's either get on board or get off. So after seeing, I don't know how many slides that was of just a preliminary investigation, at the very least abstain. Don't look, I mean, that just looked foolish. You just went shot in foot. That looked, you guys looked ignorant. You were seriously gonna vote no? He just presented all this information to you? And you guys vote no? Are you kidding me? Did you hear the investigation? Just a preliminary investigation, Lyndon? Do you understand it?
Why wasn't it presented to us in writing before this? Why?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, there's
So
no,
you're saying that
there's no,
it was a lot to
there's no
process, is what you're saying.
communication.
I can agree with that. I can probably agree with that. I can see that.
And guarantee you, there'll still be no communication to get anything, written beforehand.
I will tell you though, you know that I've been coming up here for a long time with other people, the people that are sitting up here. And all it's been wanting is to make things right and make things legit and buy the book and follow the rules and accountability. So now that people are actually up here doing that, the other people are like, I don't understand. I don't understand how, don't tell me you didn't see any of this. Like, oh my God, I didn't know any of this was going on. Because some of this stuff I've been saying for a very long time, have I not?
That's true. But if you want to go way back, when Marcus was, what, mayor or whatever it was?
Municipal manager and fire chief.
I came up here, you know how many people were up here in the audience?
One.
Me, that was it.
I know, I remember, and I came right after you.
Well, it ain't gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse.
Oh, no, I disagree with you.
No.
Disagree. I completely disagree.
If you read that paper, look at, if they draw it out until August, it'll be way over $200,000.
Who will?
Huh?
Who will?
The group and this gentleman here, if he gets $10,000 a month, how much is
How much do you
$10,000?
think Glenna was getting paid?
Huh?
How much do you think Glenna was getting paid?
Well, I'm just saying, look,
I'm just asking.
I have no idea.
$10,000 a month.
Okay, but
Hold on, time out. Plus benefits. I mean, you're talking health insurance, life insurance. I mean, there's so many other things that go on top. That was just base salary. So it's not like, oh, we were paying $5,000 and now we're paying $20,000. Okay? I know that there was discussion about the law of contract being what, $2,000 a month or it was let me see. So Mr. Keener was getting paid $2,800 a month. So we're actually, he's saving us money.
you see a conflict in that gentleman there getting paid $2,000 to be the attorney for the village and also given $250 per hour to investigate? That's not a conflict?
No, it's not. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not, you're paying him $2,000, you're paying him hourly for both positions.
No.
Or is there a flat fee?
You get a flat fee of $2,000, just the same thing that Mr. Keener was getting, $2,000.
No.
In the interest of time, what I'll tell you is my law director contract has no hourly, but I cap it at what Mr. Keener is making. So if it's less than, I get paid less. If it's more than, I get paid if he's getting paid. There is no conflict of interest. My representations for the village of both sides.
I completely agree with that.
And again, in the interest of time,
I know.
my wife keeps texting me. She's wondering when daddy's coming.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, so anyways, you're trying to say, oh, his weight, whatever, he's making the same as what Glenna was, he's paying less than Keener. I have so much more, you guys, but I'm gonna just kind of wrap it up because, no, we're not gonna potentially bankrupt Lebanon, damaging reputations, nobody damages your reputation, you damage yourself. Council did swear to uphold the charter, Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Ohio, and they're the only ones that are doing that, the newly elected council members. It sounds like you are more worried about your friends than the actual welfare of the village. Because right now, there's a lot of things that you're worried about. You shouldn't be worrying about. You shouldn't be worrying about who did this and who did what, and my public requests, and how about, what the hell where's our money? Holy moly, where's our money? What's going on? What did we do wrong? Like, I don't understand. I mean, if a cop came to my house and said, hey, I need to question you for blah, 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 I go along with the investigation and I say, okay, here you go, whatever. And that's it. Now, if somebody's guilty of something, just by what's shown, what I've shown for years, I mean, it may not be as official as an attorney, but I pretty much, did I not, how many times say at 30 days, at 30 days, I mean, but you guys need to, Lyndon,
Are these last two wrong?
I don't know, that's a statement of cash positions,
Yeah, are these wrong?
for what, for the debt?
No, anything wrong in there, anything, figures wise.
I don't know what month they're looking at.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go ahead and finish up.
Yeah, for negatives.
I mean,
Anytime, so these are your funds. These are balances, and these are all in the negative. That's 175,000 in the negative, like all of these.
so there's no money in there.
But it's not,
Yeah.
Not that there's no money, it's just that they overspent for that bond, what was appropriated, am I correct? Okay. So, but anyways, I know that that's with the AG and stuff, and I can only say so much, but, I have the right as a citizen, I wrote this part down, I have the right as a citizen and as a taxpayer to expect that those that operate in a way that protects me and represents us as a community. So, with how things went down tonight, I would like, Mr. Law Director, for you to look into removing Tammy Lott, Gail Joy, and Mr. Perkins. Because I do not feel like they, especially after what you said tonight, I have concerns. So I don't know how that works. You need to write something, I don't know, just let me know, and I love you, Linda, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Beans. Okay, let's wrap it up. Do we have a motion to adjourn? We're getting really late. We're getting real late. So, real quick.
Okay. First thing I'd like to make a comment, I think it, would be to Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins, you voted on this contract, correct?
Yes,
And then you said you didn't know how much she made.
not really.
Okay. My next question is, when I came out of the restroom this evening, I seen you and Ms. Madden going over your notes. Do you mind to discuss what that was pertaining to?
Yeah, Thursday, I got a kidney stone. I was talking to her, I got to go.
You were-
No, you asked me, I'm gonna tell you, and I want the rest of them to know. I got a kidney stone. I've had it for over a month. I'm supposed to see the surgeon this Thursday at 9:30. See what he's gonna do. So that's what we were discussing, and get your nose out of my business.
You were showing her your notes, and if there's cameras of that, I think that should be looked into. And I would also like to know if you have, at this point in time, since legal counsel has been involved, you or any other members of council been in contact in the same room or communications with anybody that was put on administrative leave.
Do you deny my constitutional?
And that's my
right?
last question.
Are you denying my constitutional rights to talk to anybody? Are you? I'm asking you.
Are we done? You're done, sir. Just want to hear something?
Yeah, one person asked me to ask, and I totally forgot, we asked, I guess you'll ask for mayor comments. Oh, so there was somebody here last week, at our last meeting, and wanted me to ask that they noticed when Nicole was talking to, Sets, and I guess there was a couple other people called out of order, I don't know who they were, they didn't know who they were either, they just happened to know who was behind. they wanted to know when, Ms. Bemis and there was a couple other people, they didn't know who they were. You would kind of put your finger in or, you know, shush them or shake their head, and I heard a lot of that tonight too. They wanted to know why that was the case, because, they had watched the attorney here, you know, direct you, telling you to, you know, call other people out of order, so they wanted to know why. Do you care to give them a statement of why?
That's what you're worried about out of all of this?
Excuse me, Mayor, can I?
No, I'm not gonna address that.
Okay, thank you. The other thing, well, then I'm gonna bring up, the reason about not going along with these resolutions that we had read is, Mayor, is it true that you, Mr. Back, Mrs. Sexton, and Mrs. Atkins have had access during this investigation, and that's why, I mean, that's why there's being questions and not wanting to vote?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That you had access to that
I've had
evening?
access to nothing,
You had
nothing,
nothing at all?
nothing.
And no other council member here has any access during this investigation?
Access to what? I've had access to nothing.
Been involved in the investigation or any, it's an
What I can tell you
investigation.
is there's an active investigation continuing, and they're not going to discuss it, period, that's the end. That's it, that's all,
All of
that's
us
all.
can be involved in the investigation, or just none of us?
Nobody can.
Nobody can, I'm not involved in anything.
Okay,
Okay,
that's what they, yes, that answered my question.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Yes.
motion.
Second.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Mayor Nickerson,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Just for the hell of it, no.
6-1, 6 yeses, 1
This is adjourned, thank you. Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins. We will not have any kind of anger management around here like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's
We're
like.
not trusting, I'll put your favorite people, and me personally being a Baptist, do not call Jesus Christ, name. That's offensive, so please stop, I'm asking you, please stop, okay?